So I know I've covered this a couple times, but it happened again. So Hillary Clinton went on Rachel Maddow, and Glenn Greenwald says, what are the chances that Russia comes up? Hillary has been behind almost every false conspiracy theory of the last 25 years. Iraq WMDs, Iraq and Al-Qaeda alliance, Trump-Russia collusion, Putin controlling the U.S. through blackmail, Hunter laptop as Russian disinformation. She said Tulsi was also a Russian asset. She's done all that. She's the biggest one. She goes, I'm going to join the one and only Rachel Maddow.
Oh, it's the next one. It's on the next slide, the joke.
And look at this. Hillary Clinton tweets it out. I'm going to join Rachel Maddow, and you couldn't reply. You couldn't. That raises an interesting question. How many people does Hillary follow?
Yeah,
only people who followed her were allowed to reply. How many people does Hillary Clinton follow? My guess is not that many, yet way more than still watch MSNBC.
I think that's a safe bet.
So she did it again. No, and can you believe that you're one of the most prominent politicians in the history of America, and when you tweet about a television appearance, you don't let people respond to it? You try to censor people's comments?
Was there a lawsuit against Trump for like blocking people?
Yes. If you're in office, you can't do it.
Oh, but you can limit their
if you're out of office.
You can limit their replies.
So listen to how crazy this is. Listen, they just won't. So black is white, up is down, and accuse your opponent of doing what you're doing. Watch.
That the system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it, then something it tells you something not just about that person or that moment.
They're saying this to a mirror. She's saying this to a mirror.
It maybe wounds us as a democracy and in a way that is hard to repair. Mm-hmm. What do you think about how we get better after the wounds that have been inflicted on us through this process?
Well, so they're saying that Donald Trump has inflicted such a wound in this country because people no longer trust the integrity of our elections. They just spent the last 7 years straight saying that the election was was fraudulent and Trump was an illegitimate president, and Donald and Putin literally flipped votes to get Donald. They just spent 7 years doing that, and now they're saying doing that is a blow to democracy that we can never recover from. Listen to what she said.
As damaging as that was to our democracy, I don't think it was as damaging as watching how almost all the people in power are now senile.
Yeah.
It's like stuck in, that kind of ruins my faith in it a little bit.
Here we go.
I think, the truth matters. I think having the
truth matters. Kurt, the truth that she really does think the truth matters.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to always lie. You could go to jail.
Damn right it matters. Don't tell it. You don't tell it either. Keep your trap shut.
Cases be brought in such professional manners. We'll see how they unfold. Obviously, the trials, if there are trials, are going to be critically important. But the article you mentioned that I published about the weaponization of loneliness really does, in my view, point to the larger cultural concerns, because the lack of trust, the divisiveness, the undermining of faith in ourselves, in each other, respect for our institutions, the rule of law, all of that has been deliberately inculcated within our body politic. There were trends before. I mean, we have seen how people have become more.
Could you believe the balls on these two women? And they're not even trans, as far as I know. But can you believe the balls on these women?
Yeah.
The balls to just sit there. Was it Mengele who said you accuse your opponent of what you're guilty of? Who said that? Was it Himmler?
Yeah.
One of those Nazis said that. And so that's what they sound like. Because and they dress it in flowery language. And they're all criminals. And here, I want to show you this again. A supermajority of Democrats think Russia literally flipped votes in the 2016 election.
And then just stopped after that?
And then just, why wouldn't they flip votes again in 2020? So literally, 67% of Democrats think it's likely or definitely true that Russia flipped votes in 2016. And can you get over this shit, that bullshit that they sling? How it's such serious insult to our democracy. You inflict a wound like that to make people not trust.
Well, then it starts to sound like the people are bad also for not trusting. Like it starts out as, well, there's
he's
a
being
shame that you don't trust. That's on you.
But they're saying Trump's being divisive and making people not trust our institutions. Really, who made people not trust our institutions in our elections?
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
I mean, I know I've showed this before, but I can't.
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election. And he was put in office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
Okay. Oh, here's Hillary.
One thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
So just remember what they said. I can't get over this.
That the system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it, then something tells you something not just about that person or that moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy.
You mean if someone does this? You mean if someone does this?
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
So, I mean, if someone does that, I'm wondering, is that what Rachel Maddow means when she says it?
The system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it, then something tells you something not just about that person or that.
So what this tells us is not something just about Rachel Maddow, because it does tell us something about Rachel Maddow, that she's the worst kind of person in the world. She's lying and she knows it, and she's the exact thing that she projects onto her political opponents.
Moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy in a way that is hard to repair.
Yeah. So, and you guys didn't care because you guys did that for 7 straight years. There was nobody. Remember when she said Putin's going to turn off all your heating and electricity during the winter into Midwest, and he could just make your electricity go poof and you could all die. Remember she said that?
And then we did that to Germany.
And then we did that to Germany. We blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. We took all away their energy.
Improve. How about that?
Yeah. I know I shouldn't show this anymore, but I can't help myself because they keep doing it. And people who watch MSNBC believe this as fact. Hey, come see us live on tour. We'll be in Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Connecticut, Toledo, Detroit, St. Louis, Tampa, Boca Raton, and Orlando. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.